Welcome to the Declassified Files. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In the tightly secured vaults of the National Archives, a dusty file creaks open, its contents promising to divulge a clandestine narrative that transformed American history. This is not just any document. It is a seemingly innocuous collection of papers that, once pieced together, present a mosaic of deceit, manipulation, and power struggles. It's a Pandora's box of secrets that, when unlocked, led to the downfall of a presidency. The year was 1972, a time when the fever of the Cold War still held the world in its icy grip. Amidst this atmosphere of global tension, a set of burglars, cloaked in the darkness of the night, stealthily made their way into the Democratic National Committee headquarters, housed in the iconic Watergate complex. Their objective was as clear as it was audacious: to bug the offices and gather information that could swing the upcoming election in favor of President Richard Nixon. However, fate had other plans. A vigilant security guard, noticing a piece of tape on the door lock, alerted the authorities, and the intruders were apprehended. While initially the burglary was dismissed as just another petty crime, the persistent efforts of two young reporters from the Washington Post, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, soon began to unravel a far more sinister reality. The trail of breadcrumbs led them to an intricate web of covert operations, secret funds, and calculated misinformation campaigns. It pointed towards a shocking conclusion. The burglary was not an isolated incident, but a fragment of a much larger, darker plot. A plot designed and executed at the highest echelons of the American government. Buried within the labyrinthine layers of the Watergate files lay the evidence of a clandestine operation known as the Houston Plan. Conceived by Nixon's aide, Tom Charles Houston, this plan sanctioned illegal activities such as wiretapping, burglary, and mail opening, all in the name of national security. In essence, it was a blueprint for the very activities that led to the Watergate scandal. But the most startling revelation was the existence of a secret fund intended to finance these illicit operations. This fund, managed by the Committee to Re-elect the President, or CRP, was fueled by donations from wealthy supporters, effectively turning campaign finance into a weapon of political warfare. As these secrets started to tumble out of the Watergate files, they painted a disturbing picture of a presidency that was not above using illegal and unethical means to secure its position. The scandal shook the nation, leading to a crisis of confidence in the Oval Office and ultimately culminating in the unprecedented resignation of President Richard Nixon. The Watergate files, once sealed and hidden away, had laid bare the underbelly of American politics, forever changing the way the world looks at the corridors of power. The secrets they held had not just brought down a presidency, but they had also exposed the vulnerability of democracy when those entrusted with its protection turn against it. The Watergate scandal did not materialize out of thin air. Its roots can be traced back to a turbulent era in American history, a time when political paranoia and unease permeated the White House. It was the late 1960s, and the United States was embroiled in the Vietnam War, a conflict that was tearing the nation apart and eliciting widespread protests. In this tense climate, President Richard Nixon felt increasingly threatened by the anti-war sentiment and the perceived enemies within his government. Fueled by a deep-seated fear of leaks, Nixon and his aides began a covert operation to plug these perceived breaches in their ranks. This operation, later unveiled as the Houston Plan, would set the stage for the clandestine activities that led to the Watergate scandal. The origins of the Houston Plan can be traced back to 1970 when President Nixon instructed Tom Charles Houston, a young, eager White House aide, to devise a strategy to combat what he saw as a national security threat. The resulting proposal was a comprehensive and chillingly illegal plan involving wiretapping, break-ins, and mail surveillance targeted at anti-war activists and political opponents. The Houston Plan was formally presented to the President in June 1970. Despite its glaring disregard for civil liberties and the law, Nixon initially approved it, driven by fear and the pursuit of power. The plan was eventually scrapped due to opposition from FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, but its spirit lived on, laying the groundwork for the illicit activities that would culminate in the Watergate scandal. Meanwhile, the Committee to Re-elect the President, or CRP, was established in 1971. The CRP, ironically nicknamed CREEP, was initially intended to fund Nixon's re-election campaign. However, it soon turned into a secretive slush fund, bankrolled by wealthy donors and used to finance the illegal activities that were set in motion by the Houston Plan. The secrecy surrounding the Houston Plan and the CRP was maintained with an iron grip. The lengths to which the Nixon administration went to keep these operations hidden from the public eye were staggering. They created an environment of fear and mistrust within the White House, where loyalty was demanded and dissent was not tolerated. The pressure to maintain this silence would eventually lead to the infamous Watergate break-in. It was a desperate attempt to gather intelligence on Nixon's political opponents and ensure his re-election. But this act of political espionage would backfire spectacularly, setting off a chain of events that would ultimately cause the downfall of a presidency. The Watergate files, once shrouded in secrecy, would soon become public, exposing a deeply troubling truth: that the highest office in the land was capable of orchestrating a campaign of illegal activities and deception against its own people. The trust once placed in the Oval Office was shattered, forcing the nation to confront the disturbing reality of a democracy compromised from within. In an unexpected turn of events, the Watergate files fell into public view, not from a grand act of justice but due to an accidental discovery. The operation had been meticulously planned with layers of secrecy, yet it was a piece of tape, a minor detail overlooked, that would unravel the Nixon administration's carefully crafted web of deception. On the night of June 17, 1972, Frank Wills, a security guard working at the Watergate complex, noticed a piece of tape holding a door latch open. Although he removed it, thinking little of it at the time, he returned later to find the latch taped over again. Recognizing something was amiss, Wills alerted the police, leading to the arrest of 5 men inside the Democratic National Committee headquarters. The arrested men were found carrying wiretapping devices and thousands of dollars in cash. It could have been an isolated incident of criminal activity, but journalists Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of The Washington Post believe there was more to it. They pursued the story relentlessly, going on to uncover a network of covert operations and secret funds, all leading back to the committee to re-elect the president. The initial public reaction was one of disbelief. This was not a spy novel, this was real life, and it involved the highest office of the United States. Many refused to believe that the President of the United States could be involved in such a scandal. It was an unthinkable breach of public trust. On the other hand, the government's first reaction was denial. The Nixon administration took great pains to distance itself from the break-in. They claimed it was a rogue operation, independent of official sanction. However, as the journalists continued their investigation, a different story began to emerge. The Watergate files, the tangible proof of their investigations, were damning. They revealed a systematic campaign of illegal activities, all designed to ensure Nixon's re-election. These files, once the guarded secrets of a paranoid administration, were now in the public domain, sparking outrage and leading to a national crisis. As the truth about the Watergate scandal gradually unfurled, the public was forced to grapple with the reality of a president embroiled in a web of lies and deceit. The discovery of the Watergate files marked a turning point in American politics, a moment when the nation's faith in its leadership was profoundly shaken. The implications of this revelation were far-reaching, leading to a loss of innocence and a demand for accountability that echoes to this day. The Watergate scandal was not an isolated event, but the work of a complex network of individuals and organizations. High on the list of key players was the Committee to Re-elect the President, also known by the fitting acronym CREEP. Initially established to secure President Nixon's second term, the committee quickly became a hub for illicit activities. With a budget funded by secret donations, CREEP employed tactics that ranged from dirty tricks and sabotage to outright espionage against the Democratic Party. In the midst of this clandestine operation, a former CIA operative, E. Howard Hunt, emerged as a pivotal figure. A consultant for the White House, Hunt, along with G. Gordon Liddy, a former FBI agent, masterminded the Watergate break-in. Their collective experience in intelligence and covert operations made them the perfect candidates for this shadowy mission. Underneath them was a group of 5 men known as the Watergate burglars. Bernard Barker, Virgilio Gonzalez, Eugenio Martinez, James McCord and Frank Sturgis were the men arrested inside the Democratic National Committee headquarters. They did the dirty work, executing the plans laid out by Hunt and Liddy. Yet the chain of command went further up, all the way to the Oval Office. John Mitchell, Nixon's campaign director and former Attorney General, was implicated. He had control over the secret funds used to finance the operations carried out by Creep. Moreover, evidence suggested that top White House officials, including Chief of Staff H.R. Haldeman and Presidential Counsel John Dean, were also involved. And then, of course, there was President Richard Nixon. While it is still disputed how much Nixon knew about the break-in beforehand, the Watergate files showed that he became involved in the cover-up. The infamous White House tapes would later reveal Nixon's attempts to obstruct the FBI's investigation into the break-in, further implicating him in the scandal. These key players and organizations form an intricate web of deceit and corruption that unfolded during the Watergate scandal. Each, in their own way, contributed to a seismic shift in public trust, exposing the vulnerability of a nation's democratic systems to its own leadership's machinations. A sobering reminder that even in the highest echelons of power, secrecy and manipulation can thrive. The Watergate files serve as a testament to the importance of transparency and accountability. As we delve further into the labyrinthine world of Watergate, it becomes clear that documentation, transcripts, and other pieces of evidential material play a vital role in unearthing the truth. Among these, the so-called smoking gun tape stands out. Recorded on June 23, 1972, just 6 days after the break-in, it captures President Nixon and H.R. Haldeman, his chief of staff, plotting to obstruct the FBI's investigation. This tape was a significant turning point, leading to Nixon's resignation due to evident involvement in the cover-up. Yet, the Watergate files are replete with enigmatic elements and incongruities, fueling ongoing debates. For one, 18.5 minutes of a crucial conversation between President Nixon and Haldeman on June 20, 1972, were mysteriously erased. The nature of this conversation remains elusive, its contents lost to time. Nixon's secretary, Rose Mary Woods, claimed responsibility for accidentally erasing part of the tape, but the explanation has been met with skepticism. The Senate Watergate Committee's report, a comprehensive 1,250-page document too, has its share of anomalies. Some passages are suspiciously redacted, the reasons for which remain unclear. Those blacked-out sections have given rise to speculation about the information they might contain. Despite the report's detailed account of the scandal, these sections seem to whisper of untold secrets. Furthermore, there are missing pages from the documents of the committee to re-elect the president. These gaps in the documentation raise questions about what might have been documented on those missing pages. The absence of these pages amplifies the enigma surrounding Watergate. Then there's the question of the so-called deep throat, an anonymous source who leaked vital information to Washington Post reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein. For years, the identity of Deep Throat was one of the most compelling mysteries of Watergate. Not until 2005 did former FBI Associate Director Mark Felt reveal himself to be the elusive informant. Yet, the question of why Felt chose to remain anonymous for so long is a subject of ongoing debate. The Watergate files, with their contradictions, missing pages, and suspicious redactions, serve as a mirror to the scandal itself. Intricate, complex, and shrouded in secrecy. They tell a story of power and deception, but they also hint at hidden narratives yet to be fully uncovered. These documents, mysterious as they are revealing, continue to fuel discussions and debates about one of the most significant political scandals in American history. Throughout the unfolding of the Watergate scandal, the media played an unprecedented role in shaping public understanding. Journalists, researchers, and pop culture became instrumental in bringing the scandal to light, unraveling the truth, and informing the public. The Washington Post, in particular, led the charge with its groundbreaking investigative journalism. Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, the investigative reporters from the Washington Post, were at the forefront of this media coverage. Their persistent efforts, aided by the vital insider information from Deep Throat, exposed the depth of the corruption and cover-ups. Their reporting of the scandal earned them a Pulitzer Prize and set a new standard for investigative journalism. However, it wasn't just the media that played a role in shaping public understanding. Pop culture, too, had a significant influence. The 1976 film All the President's Men, based on the book by the same name written by Woodward and Bernstein, brought the Watergate scandal to an even broader audience. This dramatization of real-life events helped to cement the scandal's place in the public consciousness, making it a symbol of government corruption. Gradually, the official narrative evolved. Initially, the Nixon administration vehemently denied any involvement in the break-in or cover-up, dismissing it as a third-rate burglary attempt. But as the media continued to report, and as more evidence came to light, the government's narrative was forced to change. Nixon himself was finally compelled to admit his role, leading to his resignation on August 8, 1974. In the aftermath, the Watergate scandal became a byword for political deceit and abuse of power. It changed the way the public viewed the government, leading to an increased demand for transparency and accountability. The scandal's impact on public trust was profound, and it continues to resonate today. The Watergate scandal reminds us of the power of the media and the importance of whistleblowers in holding those in power accountable. It also underlines the role of pop culture in shaping our understanding of significant events. As we delve deeper into the Watergate files, we are reminded that the truth often lies hidden beneath layers of secrecy, waiting to be uncovered. In weighing the Watergate evidence, it's crucial not to overlook the voices of skeptics and contrarians who question the mainstream narrative. For instance, some assert that the Nixon administration was not alone in its culpability, and that the scandal was symptomatic of a broader culture of political deceit prevalent at the time. Prominent among these contrarians was the late Gore Vidal, a renowned American writer and public intellectual. Vidal took a critical view of the Watergate coverage, arguing that the media's focus on Nixon diverted public attention from systemic corruption within American politics. Similarly, some experts argue that the Watergate files don't conclusively prove Nixon ordered the break-in. Instead, they suggest that he was guilty of trying to obstruct the FBI's investigation to protect his subordinates. A serious crime, but one with different implications. Others question the portrayal of Deep Throat, the anonymous source who fed information to Woodward and Bernstein. While Deep Throat was later revealed to be Mark Felt, a top-ranking FBI official, skeptics argue that his role has been overly romanticized. They contend that Felt didn't act solely out of a commitment to truth and justice, but also out of personal ambition and a desire for retribution against Nixon, who had passed him over for the FBI's top job. Moreover, some critics have noted that the Watergate scandal was not unique. They point to other instances of political espionage during the same era, such as the bugging of Martin Luther King Jr. by the FBI. These skeptics argue that the Watergate scandal was not an aberration, but part of a broader pattern of government surveillance and interference. Alternate interpretations of the Watergate files continue to intrigue historians, political scientists, and conspiracy theorists alike. By shedding light on these divergent viewpoints, we can better understand the complexity and ambiguity of this pivotal moment in American history. The Watergate scandal is more than just a tale of political corruption. It's a testament to the power of narratives and the ways in which they can shape our understanding of history. Whether one accepts the mainstream narrative, questions it, or explores alternative interpretations, the Watergate files remain a rich field of study, offering glimpses into the shadowy world of political power and the lengths to which some will go to protect it. As we delve deeper into the hidden corners of political history, parallels between Watergate and other incidents begin to crystallize. A pattern emerges, suggesting that Watergate was not an isolated event, but rather a symptom of a recurrent theme in the global political landscape. Take, for instance, the Profumo affair of the 1960s in Britain. Much like Watergate, it was a political scandal that gripped the nation, brought down a prominent political figure, and left a lasting impact on the public's trust in government. The case involved John Profumo, Britain's Secretary of State for War, who lied to Parliament about his relationship with a woman who was also involved with a Soviet naval attaché. The scandal exposed a tangled web of deceit, sex, and espionage. The parallels between the Profumo affair and Watergate are striking. Both involved high-ranking officials who lied to protect their reputation and political career. Both scandals were exposed by investigative journalism, and both led to a seismic shift in public trust in government. But more importantly, both cases demonstrate the lengths to which individuals in power will go to conceal the truth, and the systemic corruption that can occur at the highest levels of government. Yet another example, from a different part of the world and a different time, is the South Korean political scandal involving the former President Park Geun-hye. Accused of collaborating with a close confidant to extort money from businesses, Park was impeached and later sentenced to 24 years in prison. This case, like Watergate and the Profumo affair, was a stark reminder of how corruption can infect even the highest office in a democratic society. These cases from different decades and continents underscore a recurring theme: the abuse of power, the subversion of democratic processes, and the erosion of public trust in government. The Watergate files are not just a record of a singular political scandal in American history. They are a symbol of a global pattern of political corruption and deceit. They shed light on the darker side of politics, the side that is often hidden from public view. In a world where power and secrecy often go hand in hand, the Watergate files serve as a potent reminder of the need for transparency and accountability in government. The echoes of Watergate can be heard in political scandals around the world, reminding us of the importance of vigilance, investigative journalism, and public scrutiny in holding those in power accountable. The Watergate scandal is not just a historical event frozen in time, its relevance persists in today's world. The recent release of more Watergate documents by the National Archives only serves to reignite interest, shedding new light on the depth of corruption that unfolded half a century ago. These newly declassified files, including transcripts of grand jury testimonies and thousands of pages of investigative reports, reveal more intricate details of the scandal, further exposing the extent of the deception. However, the Watergate affair remains shrouded in mystery, with countless questions left unanswered. For instance, what exactly was discussed in the infamous 18.5-minute gap in one of Nixon's recorded conversations? Despite extensive forensic audio analysis, this piece of the puzzle remains unsolved. It's a tantalizing mystery that continues to fuel speculation and intrigue, a testament to the enduring allure of the Watergate scandal. In the age of digital technology, the nature and scope of political scandals have evolved. Today, emails, text messages, and social media can be scrutinized, potentially revealing evidence of misconduct. This was the case in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, when leaked emails from the Democratic National Committee led to significant controversy. Yet while the medium has changed, the underlying issues that Watergate highlighted, deceit, abuse of power, and corruption, still persist. Moreover, geopolitical shifts have brought new dimensions to the Watergate narrative. The role of foreign interference in democratic processes, for example, has become a pressing concern. Allegations of election interference by foreign entities have sparked investigations and debates across the globe. This has led to a renewed interest in the Watergate scandal, as it offers valuable lessons on the potential threats to democratic institutions. The Watergate scandal continues to matter because it symbolizes the perennial struggle between power and truth. It reminds us of the importance of maintaining checks and balances on those in authority, something that remains just as crucial today. The Watergate files, with their ongoing revelations and enduring mysteries, serve as a stark warning from history, a warning that is more relevant than ever in our increasingly complex political landscape. The Watergate scandal, far from being a closed chapter in history, continues to unfold. Its influence permeates our society, politics, and consciousness, a ghostly reminder of the potential for corruption that lies just beneath the surface of power. The Watergate files, with their still unraveling secrets, are a testament to this enduring relevance, a symbol of the eternal vigilance required to safeguard democracy. The Watergate files, like silent sentinels from the past, continue to echo across the decades. They remind us that power, in all its guises, can be a seductive force, luring even the most principled into a dance with deceit. The allure of secrecy is a potent one, as it promises control and the illusion of invulnerability. But as the Watergate scandal so vividly demonstrates, secrecy is a double-edged sword. It offers a shield of protection, yet it can also become a weapon of self-destruction. As we delve into the hidden recesses of the Watergate scandal, we grapple with the nuances of human nature. The files lay bare the inner workings of individuals caught in a web of ambition, fear, and desperation. These are not just historical documents. They are a looking glass into the darker corners of our collective psyche. They raise questions about our capacity for duplicity, our willingness to sacrifice ethics at the altar of power, and our relentless pursuit of the truth. Moreover, the Watergate files speak to a profound universal yearning for transparency. The public's dogged determination to uncover the truth, despite the layers of deception, is a testament to our shared belief in justice. It's a stark reminder that power, in the end, is held to account, not by the clandestine corridors of government, but by the collective will of the people. In the end, the Watergate scandal is more than a political event. It is a saga of power and secrecy, of human frailty and resilience. It's a cautionary tale that warns us of the dangers of unchecked authority and the corrosive effects of deception. Yet, it's also a story of hope, a story that underscores the power of truth and the extraordinary lengths to which humanity will go to uncover it. The Watergate files, with their cryptic codes and veiled secrets, continue to challenge us. They invite us to question, to probe, and to scrutinize. They implore us to remember the lessons of the past and to remain vigilant in the face of future threats. They whisper a timeless message, a message that reverberates through the ages. Truth, in the end, will always find a way to surface, no matter how deeply it has been buried. It is a sobering thought, yet one that offers a measure of hope, a beacon of light in the shadowy realm of power and secrecy. Thanks for listening. This has been the Declassified Files. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.